Today I'm going to be going over different types of fabric paints and different uses for them. So if you've ever been curious about it, now is the time to find out. As a disclaimer, Plaid Crafts did send me some of these fabric paints to try. They're not paying me to make this video, they just sent me some stuff to try out. Let's dive in and see what the fabric paints can do. So I have a handy little palette here that I am going to fill with the different paints. And I have several different fabric swatches. I have both white and a charcoal. I couldn't find a black in any of my stash, so I just used charcoal. These are both knit fabrics. This is a cotton lycra, and this is a French terry. To start off, I'm going to use one of these Plush paints. So I'm really curious how it's going to turn out. Painting it alone won't give me the result of the Plush. I have to let it dry for 24 hours, and then I have to steam iron it for it to give a plush effect. So I'm really curious what that's going to look like. So I'll just paint a couple swatches on one of the white fabrics and one of the black, or I guess charcoal fabrics, and see what that does. I'll let them dry for the amount of time, and then we can check them out. Let's try this out on one of these swatches. I'm gonna just dip this in here and try out a little bit here. Just put on a good coat and see how it does. So those are some really vibrant colors. I hope they stay that way when they dry, because I know sometimes paint has a tendency to either like darken or lighten when it dries. So I'm curious to see what these ones will do. Okay, so we'll just leave those ones on there, set them aside so they can dry for their 24-hour time frame. And then, so that was the Plush ones. I'm also gonna try the 3D, or the, what is it, 3D, the Plush paint. I don't know why I wanna call it 3D paint. The Plush paint on the charcoal as well. So I'm curious how it'll show up on darker fabrics. Okay, so it is showing up, but it looks like it's gonna be harder to see on this. It's definitely still visible, as you can tell, but I think it's not going to be as vibrant as it was on the white. I'm going to try out the yellow. See how that looks. Okay, so I think that we're going to get the same thing with this one. It's not going to be as vibrant as it would be on the white. So I haven't tried these ones out yet. I've only done the regular fabric paints in the past and the glitter fabric paints in the past. So hopefully they turn out good and cool and fun and all the things. Well, I'm gonna let these things dry, and after the 24 hours, I will turn the camera back on and I'll show you guys how they iron and then how they look after ironing. It is leaving a bit of residue on my work surface, so I think you'll definitely want to put something down. I put a tablecloth down, like just a disposable one, because I know paint is messy. So I just wanted to make sure that my work surface was protected, and so you'll probably want to do the same. Okay, I also have these cute stencils that Plaid sent me, and I'm going to try some of them out with some of these paints. So this is just regular coloring. There's nothing, like, it's not glitter, it's not plush, it's not metallic. Some of these are metallic, so those are kind of fun. So I'm going to put some blue and some pink, and we'll just paint those colors and see how it looks. Oh, this blue is perfect. It matches my tablecloth almost exactly. So I won't even see the bleed through from that. And I want to try the stencil out on the next color. So I'm going to put that here and clean out my brush. Okay, I'm going to take the pink and try it out with the stencil. See how that works. I should probably get some sort of tape and hold this stencil down with that, but I'm not that dedicated. Okay, wait, I actually have to stop right here. So I filmed this entire video without even realizing that these stencils actually have an adhesive back. You just have to peel the plastic off first, and I had no idea. So ignore all the comments about needing tape or something to hold it down with, because that's my bad for not looking at the packaging well enough. These do actually have an adhesive back, and it would definitely solve all of the fabric bleeding that I had problems with. So now that we know that, I am gonna go ahead and let you finish watching. Okay, so I'm gonna set this one off to the side as well. And we'll try it on the charcoal and see how it looks on the charcoal. So again, this is just the regular color. There's nothing in particular about it. Like, it's not a glitter, it's not a plush, it's just color. Yeah, and it's still visible on the charcoal. It's just not quite as saturated as it is on the white. But it still looks good. Like, if you look at that, you can still see it. It's just fine. It's just not as saturated. So we'll see how it dries, if it dries darker or lighter, if it's even visible when it dries. Try out some blue on this charcoal. See if the blue shows up any better. Oh, the blue shows up a lot better than the pink did. I wonder, I don't know why. I don't know why that's so much more pigmented. How interesting. Okay, yeah, that's like way brighter. Like, now that it's been sitting on there, it's almost not as bright as it was just a minute ago when I painted it on. So I don't know. All right, so I'm gonna set this one off to the side to dry as well. Now I'll show you guys the glitter, because I'm sure everyone's just dying to see that. When I was playing around with the glitter paint on my own, I discovered that the glitter actually looks way better if you layer a color underneath it, and I'll show you what I mean. So I will put a couple of lines of just the glitter in one spot, and then I'll paint with a color, and then I'll go over that color with the glitter so you can see what I mean. Okay, so I'm gonna take a blue glitter and I'm just gonna streak it over here, and I'm gonna leave it there. So it still comes out really pretty, and if you just want glitter, then that's great. It'll work fine, but I think if you want it to be like visible, like a visible color with glitter, then you need to put a base color there first. Okay, so now I'll take some of that blue and I'll put it right next to it. I'll give it just a minute to dry up a bit, and then I'll put some of the blue glitter on top of it. Okay. We'll let that set for just a second, and I will show you one of the other glitters. Okay, we'll do a green, and I'll do the same thing with the green. I'll just put some green down, and then I'll put a solid green, and then put some glitter on top of that, and so that you guys can see the difference. And I also, it seems like a lot of the glitters have different size of glitter chunks within the glitter, so that might be something to pay attention to if you buy some of this. This is a vibrant green. I didn't know it was this bright. Maybe it'll dry a little bit darker though. Okay, so I'm going back over with the glitter paint now. That may have been just a little bit too soon on the green, but that's all right. We'll go over the blue one a little bit with some of the blue. And this one actually has blue and green flecks in it because it is called Mermaid's Tail. So we will set those aside and let them dry. And we will try the same thing on the charcoal. So a little bit of the glitter, just to get an idea of what it's like without a color. I haven't done this on the charcoal yet, so I'm actually really curious how it's going to come out. I actually think that the glitter on the charcoal is going to come out really pretty on its own without a base color. I think it's pretty on the white too, but it's probably going to show up way better on the black or the charcoal. So like if you're going to do this on a shirt or something, the instructions tell you to put cardboard between the layers, because as we're seeing on the tablecloth, I'm getting a lot of bleed through. So if you use a piece of cardboard or some sort of something in between the layers of the shirt, it won't bleed through to the back side of the shirt. So that's an important note if you are making a shirt. we see how the sparkle turns out on top of the color on the charcoal. I hope it turns out really cool. I just want it to be like this really like bright pop and amazing color, glitter. I just really like glitter. So you can already tell that this mermaid one is starting to dry a little bit, and I feel like those colors just kind of really pop, like, especially when they catch the light just right. Okay, and we'll set that one to the side and let it dry as well. Okay, the last one to try that I have is the metallic ones. So I have a metallic bronze and a metallic rose gold. So these ones will be really interesting to see. I am very curious. I'm gonna start with the rose gold. Maybe do it on the front of the fabric so we can see it a little bit better, and I'm dripping. All right, so this is the rose gold. And remember, this is what it looks like when it's wet. It will have a different visual appearance when it's dry and ironed, because that's just the way the paint is. Okay, now this one's the bronze. The bronze color, metallic. You see that already is so much darker than the rose gold, which you would expect, right? A bronze and a rose gold, they're gonna be very different. Okay, I think those look really pretty. They're so shimmery. I don't know if you can tell, they're just like, they sparkle a bit when they hit the light. Okay, and I'm gonna try another stencil, and instead of doing a charcoal swatch, because I'm out of charcoal swatches, I'm gonna do it on a t-shirt with a bigger stencil. Obviously my stencil didn't turn out so well last time, so I'm gonna practice with one more little one. And I think I'm gonna do the unicorn, because the unicorn is so cute. So we'll just stick her there. And hopefully this will work. This would actually be really cool too if you used freezer paper stenciling. So if you're not familiar with that, you just get some freezer paper and you can either cut it out with like a Cricut, a Silhouette, some sort of cut machine, or you could get an X-Acto knife and cut out some sort of shape or design. And then you can iron the freezer paper onto fabric, and it will actually stay, and it kind of keeps the fabric paint from bleeding around. So I think freezer paper stenciling would be a really good option for fabric paint. Moment of truth. Here we go. Hey, that worked so much better than the other one. Okay, so I am gonna try the stencil out on a t-shirt with probably the rose gold again, because I really like the way that looks. And then I'll streak in a little bit of the bronze so we can see how that looks also. Okay, so I have a plain black tee here, and I actually made this one. So it's made out of cotton lycra. So it's the same fabric as the white fabric that I was sampling for you guys. So I don't have a large piece of cardboard, but I have these little guys. So we will probably shove those in there, and then the stencil I'm using is this one. So I'm just gonna shove the cardboard in there and then try to fit all of these around so I have a protected underneath surface area. And I really hope that all the bumps don't ruin it, because that's a very big possibility. Just try to make it flat as I can. And maybe I will start with the bronze in the center and then take the rose gold out to the sides. I think that sounds good. All right, I'm gonna take it off now, and hopefully the stencil worked good enough. So I'll take it off so you guys can see what it looks like on the black. Wow, that looks really cool. Oh, and it's so sparkly too. I don't know if you can see that, but it is. I've got paint all over my hands, so I can't move it very much, but I think it actually looks super cool. So I will leave it for 24 hours, and then I will come back and we can iron everything and see how it turns out after it's dry. It's now been a full 24 hours, so I'm going to go ahead and iron these things and see if that makes a difference. I don't really expect that it'll make much of a difference, except for on the plush one. All of them except for the plush one say to use a pressing cloth. So I just have a scrap piece of cotton fabric here, and I'm just going to lay it on top. I'm starting with the metallic paints. And like I said, I don't expect that it'll make much of a difference. As I understand it, it's just to make it permanent. So I don't think that didn't change the appearance of it at all. It's like I thought, just kind of more of a permanence thing. So that's how it turned out. Okay, and I've got the shirt that I made. So I think the design on this actually came out really pretty, and the way it dried and everything, it's just got like a really nice sparkle to it, and I can really appreciate a good sparkle. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing with this one, just press it for, it says 30 seconds. Yeah, so I don't think it's making any difference in appearance, just like I said earlier. But I do really like the way that that looks. Let me see if I can focus on that a little bit better. There we go. Better focus. So that's what it came out like. That's showing up a little bit brighter on the camera than it is in real life. It's not quite that bright and vibrant. It's a little bit more muted. But I still think it turned out really pretty. Like, you can see how overexposed my hands are right now. Let me see if I can focus on a hand. There, so that's probably a little bit more what it looks like in real life. So I'm going to now show you the regular colors, how the regular colors dried, because I think it's kind of interesting. So the ones that didn't have anything special to them, they were just the color. There's no glitter, there's no plush, there's no anything. So on the white one, it came out really vibrant and pretty, and you can see it really well. But on the charcoal one, it came out much harder to see. So I found that to be really interesting, because I actually thought that they might pop a little bit more on the charcoal, but they didn't. They're much more muted on the charcoal. So I'm going to go ahead and press these for permanency's sake. And by the way, most of the paints said that they wanted you to use a dry heat. So I'm using my iron, but I'm not using any steam. The only one that said it wanted heat or wanted steam was the plush ones, because it said the steam would activate the plush. So I'm curious about that. Okay, so, and yeah, that didn't really change the appearance, but you can see, like, it's so hard to tell. I don't know if I can even get this close enough to you to see, but it just didn't really come out very seeable, visible, whatever. So, interesting to note, if you're going to use a straight up color, then charcoal or a darker color may not be the best thing to use. So I think if you wanted to use a charcoal or a black color to paint on, I would probably use a white color as a base and then maybe paint over that and see if that would work. That would be probably the best way to make a straight color show up. I'm going to go ahead and keep going on the dry heat ones, since only one of them calls for steam and I'm not ready to use that yet. So I have the glitter ones. So you can see on the charcoal that the glitter actually pops a lot more than just the regular color did. And it shows up so much more, and it actually looks really nice on the charcoal. It looks nice on the white too, but when it's just glitter without a color underneath it, it's not as vibrant, it doesn't pop as much, and it's just a little bit harder to see. So if you put a color underneath it and then put the glitter on top, it's much more visible and will pop a lot more. But with the black, the same thing, you can't see the color as well. I put the color on this part and then no color here, and this is just glitter, and this one is just glitter. And then this one has color underneath, and this one has color underneath. And they just did not, I mean, I guess there's a little bit more of a pop with those colors, but you could probably just use the regular glitter and be just fine. Go ahead and give these ones a little bit of a quick iron. Again, appearance hasn't changed, looks pretty much the same. So yeah, I guess we now have only one more to try, and that is the Plush ones. So these ones asked for different directions. So they said to use a steam setting. So I'm going to turn my steam on all the way and give that a second to kind of get the water going in that. All right, so I am just going to lay these down. It doesn't say to use a press cloth with these, but it does say to iron the back sides of them. I hope this doesn't melt my fabric. It is a knit fabric. And I say that because knit fabric usually has a bit of spandex or nylon in it, and so that can actually melt when it's under a lot of heat. I don't know if that made... Oh, okay, I can see it. I don't know if I ironed it for long enough. I guess it kind of gives it a little bit of a texture, which is interesting, and you can see that it's kind of changing the color a little bit along the edges. I'm going to iron that just a little bit longer and see if it changes any more, because I don't know if that was long enough. Or maybe it just wasn't enough steam. It did say heat time may vary, so I'm just going to do this a little bit longer and see if it changes anything. I'm really curious about the plush effect. I want to see it. This might be too long, but I just didn't see any effect from the last time I steamed it, so I might just be overcompensating now. Okay. Maybe I'll just give it a second to cool down. Alright, let's see. Oh, it's starting to stick to my ironing board a little bit, but it's not leaving marks, so that's fine. Yeah, okay, so it's just a texture. It's really stiff and kind of hard. Like, I don't know if you can see how well that, like, it just makes a shape. Like, the rest of this fabric just kind of like bends in on itself and makes different shapes, but when you go into this one, it just wants to go in one direction and it's really stiff. So let's see if it's the same on the white. And it is. So these colors did come out pretty vibrant on the white. They don't work very well in stretch fabric because it's so stiff that I think if you pulled on it, it might crack the paint. But it's really textured and it feels kind of rough. But I'm curious if I pulled on this enough. Oh, I guess I would take a little bit of tugging. That didn't come apart as much as I thought it would. And try it on this yellow one. Oh, that's what I thought it would do. But it went together pretty well, so I don't know. But it did stretch out and leave marks. Like now I have like a stretched out piece of fabric, which it should just snap back to normal. But yeah, so that's how the plush came out, and that's how the plush looks. And try it again on this one. I'm pulling against the grain. This is probably not going to help. So it's actually pretty sturdy. It's more sturdy than I would have thought it was. But it's still like really, really stiff. And if you use this as like a graphic on a tee, that might not be very comfortable because it would just be stiff, and you'd like, if your arms rubbed against it, it would just kind of hurt and be a little rough against your skin. So I probably wouldn't recommend it for like a t-shirt or something, but you could totally use this on like a tote bag or a zipper bag, or, you know, just fabric you're probably not going to wear. I'm really curious about the shirt. I kind of want to see how it looks on. Huh. So that's actually pretty cool. I don't know if I got it quite fully centered, but I think it looks cool. Like, it's a really fun little thing that you can do on your shirt. And unlike the plush one, this one isn't, it's not really stiff when I rub it. So if I like rub my arm against it, it's not going to hurt my arm. It's not going to scratch it up. Where I feel like with the plush one, it probably would feel that way because it's so stiff. The metallic paint is not stiff, at least with one layer. Like if you did multiple layers, it might get stiffer. I don't know, because I only did one layer. But that's all the experimentation that I had for these fabric paints, and hopefully that was a bit insightful for you and helpful, and can kind of help you understand fabric paints a little bit more and help you determine if you want to try them or not. Thanks for hanging out with me.